Today I'm going to talk to you about 3 things you need to know about searching for real estate online that may be messing up your search and your results. And I'm going to get started right now. Hey everyone, my name is Jamey Prezzi. I'm a real estate agent in Miami and Miami Beach, and today I'm here to talk to you about searching for real estate online and why some of the data may not come up as you need it, and why you cannot rely on this data, and why a lot of it is inaccurate. And if you're spending a lot of time searching for real estate online without the assistance of your real estate agent, you may be missing a lot of opportunities. And if you're trying to sell your house and you're using those valuations in today's market, you may be also missing some information. So first, before I get started with that, if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button so you never miss another update. I do put out new videos every week. Also, use the link in my information box and download our free guide today. Now, I do update that guide all the time, so if you've downloaded it before, you're welcome to download it again, because I update that page with new market updates pretty much every month. Okay, let's get started. So one of the first things that's very important to know is that a real estate agent in our area, our local Realtor-Association, we have access to what is called the MLS, or Multiple Listing Service. And that is a database that holds all the listings that are listed by realtors, which is a lot of the listings here in Miami-Dade and Broward counties. So basically what happens is when an owner signs a listing agreement with their agent, the agent puts the property in the MLS, and then that listing goes live. Now, if you are in an agent's portal for searches, you're going to get notified immediately. If you are in some of those other online websites, it could take some time, because it takes time from the main database to syndicate out to those other websites. So that's one of the most important things to know, is time and speed, especially in this market as it moves very quickly. If you are not working with an agent who has you set up on searches, you could be missing opportunities. So make sure you ask them to add you to the database search of the MLS so you get it immediately. Next, a lot of times people like searching for those online properties because they think that they can contact the seller's agent directly. This may or may not be true, just depending on what website you're using. Some websites sell buyers' information back to agents who have paid to be the agent for that zip code. So just remember that even though you may think you're contacting the listing agent, you may need to read the fine print, because it may not always be the listing agent. Every website out there has some business goal, so it's just important to know that. I have had situations where people called me and said, hey, look, I thought that listing was not available, but I called the listing agent and they said it is, but then when they gave me the number, I realized that that is not the agent whose listing it actually is. It's an agent who paid to be the agent called in that zip code. So they really don't have a lot of information about the property, and you know, it's not accurate, and honestly, it's a little bit frustrating, but that's a whole nother story that I can get into a long tangent about, but let's move on. All right, the other thing to know is that you cannot rely on the home valuations of many of these websites. Reason being is because they never walk into anyone's house. They are just websites that aggregate data, and this data aggregation will spit out a number based on sales. Now, they do not know if that roof is new. They don't know that, you know, you redid the plumbing. They don't know that this could affect the insurance while this may not. They can never really determine, like, hey, that's a busy street, that's not a busy street, or there's just a lot of factors that they cannot determine. So if you are using that in order to make offers, I wouldn't recommend it. And also, if you're using it to price your home, you could be losing a lot of money, especially in today's market where the market is moving so fast and it's taking time for the data to catch up. Another long story, but just something really, really important to know, because ultimately it's money, right? We're talking about the value of a property that you intend to sell or buy. Next, one really big thing that people are not aware of is a lot of the properties, especially the condominiums here, they're tenant occupied. And so if you need to buy a property as your primary residence and you intend to get financing, well, the bank is not going to let a tenant stay in the property for a long time after closing. You always have to have a discussion with your lender about the time frame a tenant is allowed to stay, if they allow them to stay. But it's just important because if you're spending a lot of time looking at properties that are tenant occupied and those tenants cannot move out after you close, well, you're wasting time looking at the wrong properties. And that's why you need to use an agent who can call through and determine the length of these leases, what's going on, are there kick-out clauses or not, and really help you kind of weed out the ones that don't match so that you can focus on the properties that match your end goal, which is if you need to buy it as a primary residence, you can move in fairly quickly after closing. That's a very important factor, especially a lot of people who are purchasing condominiums right now. It's really important to know that. There's also a lot of details about condominiums. You know, are there assessments? Are there outstanding assessments? Who's paying it off at closing? Who's expected to pay it off at closing? What's included in the maintenance? A lot of that data can just not get translated through those online portals. So I just highly recommend that if you're in the midst of a deep search and you're trying to find a property, find an agent to work with who you trust, and find an agent who really knows that market very well so that they can best guide you. Otherwise, you can waste a lot of time on the wrong properties. Our local real estate market is very weird. You know, I hear people always are calling me from different areas and they're asking me about days on market and why is it like this and why is it like that. And that's because our market's very different than a lot of other places around the United States. Just important to know that that data online is not always what it's cracked up to be. Make sure you hire an agent to work in your best interest. We're always here to be a resource for you, and I will see you soon.